I would like to introduce Dr. Kegel, who is the president of our association. So in German, it's the ZVEI. So he represents a hell of many companies, so a lot of employees. And I think it's a great honor to have him here, to have him with us as a keynote speaker. I'm quite excited about what he is saying. And yeah, I think we can connect to him.
Yeah, I think we should. Oh, I can see him already. That is so awesome. Welcome.
Welcome. Hello.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good to be here. I'm fine. It's not a new format. We are doing this kind of virtual shows, virtual fairs, virtual conferences since the outbreak of Corona last April were the first ones. But I can say step by step we are gradually improving. Each show basically comes along better with the technical surroundings and the technical challenges that we have. And I'm looking forward to this. To my mind, it's the first virtual Coil show that we have. So congratulations to this inspiring format, and I wish all of you that this will be a great success.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you
now
very much.
we're like so thrilled to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor for me as well, as the newly elected president of the General Association of the Electrotechnical Industry in Germany, the ZVEI. I'm running this organization as the president since October last year. Because of the Corona pandemic, we had quite a time shift in the order of presidents. So my predecessor, Michael Ziesema, was staying in charge until we were able to actually have a legal capability to elect the new president, even without personally basically participating at the General Assembly. But since October this is done, and I'm now trying to run this very, very capable organization, and I do believe, and can show this in a few slides, that the electrotechnical industry in Germany might be the most important when it comes to the questions of climate change, climate protection, and sustainability, the most important branch in Germany. But at the same time, we are maybe the most underrated and underestimated branch in Germany. When we look into the details, the ZVEI, the General Association, represents something like almost 200 billion euros in sales. It's 11% of the German total gross domestic product, industrial product, and therefore 3% of our total GDP. So we are really a relevant industry. 1/3 of the revenues we generate with newly designed products, also a very innovative branch, a very innovative industry. We employ almost 900,000 people here in Germany, so we are equally important to employment, to industrial employment, like the Machine Builders Association, and we employ double the number of employees compared, for example, to the auto industry. The added value is quite substantial, so what we call personal intensity, so the employment ratio of our companies is in the average much higher than in the rest of the industry. So we also represent, of course, a large employment over there. And the ZVEI consists out of something like 25 different technical sub-associations, what we call Fachverbände, and therefore it's very difficult to really communicate the capabilities and the focus of our industry. As such, we normally choose this way to represent ourselves. We have certain what we call platforms. Industry 4.0 platform is maybe the most value and well-known one. But we recently built up a new platform, building automation, building technology, because electricity and sustainability is very important for this sector. More than 1/3 of our climate gas is really coming out of heating, climatization of buildings, and therefore it is really important to also focus on this. This is why we built a platform. It has been recently inaugurated, and I'm looking forward to the first meeting of this platform in the not too distant future. Mobility platform was already funded a year ago. We are even attracting more and more non-electrical companies to participate on this platform, same like Industry 4.0. And this is really the 5 the 6 focus points of the ZVEI, and underneath this is really the very heart of the ZVEI, the so-called Fachverbände. We are, of course, focusing on different agenda points, and these agenda points do change over time because not everything is equally important throughout the years. But at the very moment, we really look at digitalization, which is one of our major topics, and that basically is important for all the different 6 platforms and sectors. It is sustainability, it is globalization, and most important, it's electrification. We clearly understand that the future will be an all-electrical society, because only the all-electrical society will be able to transform itself into a digital setup and will be able to really create sustainability. All the renewable energies, all the non-carbon dioxide energies are electrical. Whether we store them in between in hydrogen or not is not very important. The important thing is it's at the very beginning electrical energy, and at the very end, when it's consumed, it's electrical energy in the future. So we are moving into all electrical society, and that is self-explanatory, means that the electrotechnical industry will become more and more important, because only we can offer the important answers to the questions that really worry us when we look into the future. Let's look at electrification. It's most important on this 4 platforms, but be aware of that even life science will become more and more electrical. You will wear electrical gadgets, electronic gadgets on your armrest or even embedded in your clothing that give you a perfect scan of all your vital parameters in the future. So you don't have to go to the doctor, it's all done automatically. And this will definitely create a much more healthy society when we can have diagnosis automatically and not when you basically have time or you are motivated to go to the doctor. But when we took a look at digitalization, decarbonization, these other 4 sectors, these other 4 platforms are even more important. And the good thing is that with the electrotechnical solutions that we provide in the future, we will also see how these different sectors are actually coupled into each other. So think about e-mobility. If you have millions of cars having heavy batteries, then this could also be an intermediate storage capacity for electricity that is generated by renewable energy. And you can't switch off a windmill, you can't switch off a photovoltaic panel on the sunny time when it's sunny and windy, but nobody actually consumes electricity. So what to do with it? Well, the other sector, the mobility, can eventually take this as a very inexpensive capability to reload batteries in the cars. And this is all in a clever and intelligent way, digital way, coupled into each other. We can basically raise a lot of efficiency potential. So this is how it basically should work, that all the electrical solutions, the digital solutions will massively help us to become a sustainable society that works in large circles instead of actually just looking at only one sector isolated from all the others. To actually achieve this all-electric society, it is necessary to unload the price for electricity from additional taxes, additional costs that we have. At the very moment, we have the funny situation that we all know that electricity will be the most clean and most sustainable energy, but especially electricity is loaded with an extra portion of taxes, and you all know our EEG costing that we actually load on electrical power. This has to be changed. We have to actually unburden electricity in regards of taxes and additional costs, and we have to basically put additional costs on the other carbon loaded energy forms like petrol and diesel, and this is at the very moment happening with the introduction of the carbon dioxide pricing that you have all been visiting. When you have a central heating of your home with gas or oil, then the provider of your energy has maybe informed you already that his prices are going up now because of this CO2 pricing. This is actually in thoughts of the ZVEI, a very important instrument to actually create a competitiveness between electrical power and the other carbon-based power like diesel, petrol, or gas. So it's important to actually use the mechanisms of open markets and of competition to feature the all-electrical society and become a sustainable society. As such, we are thinking about a large circle by actually using the carbon dioxide out of the air and combine this with any kind of green hydrogen, for example, into synthetic fuels that can be used in the car. So actually we were mimicking or copying the nature cycle by creating energy, by absorbing carbon dioxide, and then by releasing it again, having a stable, actually neutral, carbon neutral energy consumption. And again, the basis of this is electrical power. You need electrical power to create green hydrogen. You need electrical power to actually work the refineries that take the carbon dioxide and the hydrogen and actually work down to methanol and finally into synthetic fuels over there. This is at the very moment happening. I have read and also talked to Siemens. They are building together with Porsche the first medium-sized refinery in Chile that actually uses wind power to create hydrogen and finally create synthetic fuels enough to fuel 150,000 cars annually. So that's already a medium-sized refinery, the first time ever that we scale up these kind of synthetic fuels. But synthetic fuel is only one example. Hydrogen in combination with fusion cells is maybe an additional answer. Also, battery-powered e-mobility is part of the answer. So it will be a relatively broad instrument, or if you wish, different methodologies and technologies that will help us to become a sustainable society, not only in Europe, but globally. And we must always underline, specifically by addressing the politicians, keep the race open in regards of technology. Don't limit it down to just one technology. There are so many and so plenty of good ideas, especially coming from the electrotechnical industry, that we should not limit our capabilities just to battery-powered e-mobility or just to hydrogen. Be open to whatever is helpful to reduce our carbon footprint. That is the message that the ZVEI is always issuing. You can see the hydrogen, a big question at the very moment. The newspapers and even the TV and advertising is focusing on hydrogen very much. It's more or less already a kind of hype that we have. But in all honesty, it's clear that finally only the green hydrogen is helpful, because whatever hydrogen we create out of gas or out of oil and coal is not really sustainable, because it creates already in the first phase a lot of carbon dioxide emissions over there. Now, finally, the real and true hydrogen, green hydrogen, is out of electrolysis or pyrolysis by using a lot of electricity. Unfortunately, the amount of electricity that you need to create green hydrogen is large. So you need a lot of additional sustainable and renewable energies to actually do this. And at the very beginning, the green hydrogen will be so rare that we will use this maybe for aircrafts or for industrial processing, but there shouldn't be enough to really use this for mobility in cars. That's the reason why currently everybody thinks, at least for the intermediate time, the battery-powered e-mobility might be the way into the future. In addition, ZVEI is always very much focused on multilateral, open international trades. We, Germany specifically, are benefiting from global trade, from open borders, and we look at the world as it is today with some worries, specifically because the world starts to decouple. US decouples from China, or at least wants to decouple from China. China wants to decouple from the rest of the world. Their interdependency from technologies coming out of Europe and US is something that worries China, and therefore we can see that global trade is at risk at the very moment. And a country like Germany, a region like Europe, which is so much depending on exporting global trades, must do whatever it takes to really try to keep globalization as open as possible. We can see the conflicts rising up the horizon, but this is not the reason to give up and to finally accept these kind of decoupling and what is today called patchwork globalization. So you have trade rooms that do allow cross-selling across borders, but not outside of the trade room. This is something we need to avoid. And in this regards, it is also very important, specifically for your industry, that we focus on an open supply for non-grain oriented electro-steel, but as well for grain oriented electro-steel, whether you use it in motors or whether you use it in transformers. At the very moment, the EU is not able to provide us with enough grain oriented electro-steel, and therefore any kind of tariff, any kind of additional custom duties is something we need to avoid from the very beginning. The industry that actually works with grain-oriented or non-grain-oriented electro-steel is much larger than the steel industry as such in regards of employment, and it would be absolutely the wrong way to load this industry with additional custom duties and additional tariffs over there. So the ZVEI clearly stands for open borders, for non-tariffs, for non-custom duties, specifically on the high-tech steel, the grain-oriented or non-grain-oriented electro-steel. Otherwise, our industry would move out of Germany, out of Europe, into the areas where grain-oriented steel is competitively cheap and available in the necessary quantity and quality. This is a message that the ZVEI is carrying forward into our industrial association, the BDI, but also into our direct discussions that we have with politicians from all colors. Something you can be assured that we never give up to actually try to argue for an open, multilateral globalization also in the future. Yeah, this is my introduction to the ZVEI and to our major important theme, all electrical society and open world trade. And again, you can be assured that we support these ideas throughout the coming years against politicians of all colors. We think it's a political duty to make sure we can be able to sell our products and to source our raw material from anywhere in the world without custom duties or any other kind of tariffs. Thank you for listening, and again, all best success for your new virtual Coil show format.